I'm Lotus Stillness Zen. May your hearts be as pure as a lotus today, and your mind at peace if the world is too noisy. I hope my voice in this moment can offer you a moment of tranquility. What exactly does it mean to go with the flow? Have you noticed that the phrase go with the flow often appears when you feel most powerless, when your efforts yield no results, and you push yourself to exhaustion, when you summon the courage to take a step forward, but find that the world offers no response? You can't help but say to yourself, forget it, just go with the flow. It sounds easy, but your heart feels heavier than ever. You know, you're not letting go. You're just unable to hold on any longer. You're not seeing things clearly. You're just afraid of being hurt again. The more you say, go with the flow, the more chaotic your heart becomes. The more you say, don't force it, the more you fantasize about a miracle suddenly happening to you. The more you say, leave it to time, the more sleepless nights you have. You know, through going with the flow is never about doing nothing. Through going with the flow is an inner understanding, a generation of strength, an understanding of the rhythm of life. With what you're going with now is in nature. You're going with your fatigue, your avoidance, your timidity, your laziness, your fear. You think you're imitating the Taoist philosophy of effortless action, but in reality, you're furthest from effortless action. You think you're learning the Buddhist concept of letting go, but in reality, you haven't even seen yet. You're just tired, just unable to hold on any longer, just afraid of failing again. This is your truest self. But don't worry, you're not wrong, because almost everyone mistakes giving up for going with the flow. So today, we'll explore the true meaning of following the way of nature. What exactly should we follow? The trend? The heart's fate? Or the self you've never truly faced? Shugansi in the joy of fish. The nature you misunderstand is not true nature. You surely heard Shugansi's famous line. How do you know the joy of fish? Many believe this is a philosophical debate, but behind it lies a profound insight. The nature you see is not nature itself. You feel like letting go because you're tired. You feel like not competing because you're afraid. You feel indifferent because you dare not think too much anymore. You think you're observing life, but in reality, you're only observing your own heart. Who is she? Standing by the bridge. Zoologic. Shugansi saw the artistic conception. You, standing before life, see the harsh realities, but what you truly see is your self-protection after disappointment. You said, let nature take its course. But have you ever considered, is your understanding of nature just a temporary excuse you've concocted to escape pressure? Shugansi's nature comes from understanding, from enlightenment, from a lightness of mind after countless twists and turns. Your nature comes from distress, from weariness, from not knowing how to continue. You stand by the same river, but you see completely different water. Wang Yangming's enlightenment at Longchang. True acceptance is the maturation of inner strength. Wang Yangming was banished to Longchang in Guishu, a place teeming with insects and snakes. shrouded in miasma, and with harsh conditions. The last place any Ming Dynasty official wanted to be sent. Most people would think, this is it. I'll just let nature take its course. But he didn't. In adversity, he didn't yield to external circumstances, to his inner self. He didn't give up, but instead meditated, reflected, and confronted his own heart. What he yielded to was not fate itself, but the lessons fate was teaching him. Have you ever had such a moment? Life forces you to stop. If you don't accept the cessation, fate pushes you into a corner, but you don't want to wallow in self-pity in that corner. The more you struggle, the more confused you become, the more you resist, the more painful it is, until at some point, you suddenly stop resisting, not giving up, but finally understanding. Adversity is not meant to drown you, but to make you quiet down and properly steady your heart again. When your mind is stable, things will naturally fall into place, because true ease comes from inner strength, not from external luck. Wang Yangming's moment of enlightenment wasn't because Long Chang improved, but because his heart became brighter. What you need now isn't a better environment, but a more stable inner self. The modern dilemma, you're not flowing, you're drifting. Have you noticed that more and more people around you like to say, let's just go with the flow? I don't want to force anything. Let's leave it to fate. No need to be deliberate. Anyway, effort is useless. It sounds very zen, but they're not zen at all. They're tired. They're weary. They've been disappointed. They've been worn down by reality. The phrase, go with the flow, at the end, is actually a synonym for powerlessness and apathy. Are you like this too? You say you're going with the flow, but you're anxious inside. You say you're leaving it to fate, but you secretly check horoscopes and metaphysics. You say you don't force things, but you hope more than anyone to be favored by destiny. You say you've let go, but you stay up until 3 a.m. and still can't sleep. What you say is natural, but what you think is a miracle. But true miracles don't fall from the sky. What truly makes life flow smoothly and freely is the moment you find your direction. Flowing without direction is drifting. Flowing with direction is true flow. Your current confusion isn't because the world is difficult, but because your inner self lacks an anchor point. It's not that you don't try, it's that you don't know where to direct your efforts. It's not that you don't want to move forward, it's that you lack a direction that brings you peace of mind. This isn't your fault. This is a stage that everyone struggling in modern society goes through. Going with the flow. What exactly should we be flowing with? Flowing with destiny. Not passively accepting fate, but understanding the boundaries of destiny. We often say, what is destined to be yours will be yours. And what is not destined to be yours, don't force it. The destiny spoken of in the great way is not passive fatalism, but the spatium portal conditions and life foundation that each person is currently in. Just like a seed, your variety, talent, the soil, family, and upbringing environment, the climate, the historical context and social opportunities, the nutrients, quality, education and resources, the sunlight, the benefactors and opportunities you encounter. These factors constitute your life's coordinates at this moment. It's not everything, but it determines your starting point and how far you can go in each stage. Following your destiny means acknowledging reality within these coordinates, leveraging reality, not denying it. Here's a real-world example. A child from an ordinary family wants to earn their first $1 million in a year. It's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely because the supporting conditions of their destiny don't support it. Following your destiny means you can see your own hand without anxiety or rushing ahead. But there's a more crucial point here. Following your destiny doesn't equal resignation. Resignation is, my fate is sealed. I won't struggle anymore. Following your destiny is, I know where I am now, but I also know where I can go. Those who follow their destiny will take each step steadily within the boundaries they can see. And these boundaries will be broken through unconsciously. Destiny is the starting point. The heart is the process. And the Tao is the direction. The Great Way never prevents people from changing. It simply reminds you. Change begins with honestly facing reality. Following the Tao. Moving forward according to life's own rhythm. Taoism uses a beautiful metaphor. The Tao gives birth to all things, like the flow of water. Water never competes, but it never stops flowing. This is the core of following the Tao. No forcing, no stagnation, continuous progress. No forcing means not going against nature. No stagnation means continuous renewal. Continuous progress means growing in harmony with the universe. Following the Tao means letting life return to its natural rhythm. Not someone else's rhythm, not society's rhythm, and certainly not the rhythm of anxiety. Some flowers bloom in March, some in August. If you insist on bearing fruit in February, you will only harm yourself. Many young people today are anxious, not because they are moving slowly, but because they constantly compare their own pace to the accelerated pace of others. Following the Tao means taking back the energy from comparison and putting it back into our growth. If you can do this, you will find that your heart begins to relax, your breathing becomes smoother, and your path begins to brighten. What is going against the flow? The two words that Taoism opposes most. Stubborn resistance. Letting nature take its course seems relaxed and gentle, but in reality, it is extremely measured. The most unnatural thing is stubborn resistance. Stubborn resistance at work. Your body is exhausted, yet you force yourself to work overtime out of spite. Stubborn resistance in relationships. Both parties are exhausted, yet they stubbornly maintain appearances. Stubborn resistance to emotions. Not allowing yourself to be sad. Not allowing yourself to rest. Stubborn resistance in life. Insisting on a path that is clearly unsuitable. Behind stubborn resistance is I must, I should, I cannot lose. But nature tells you strength comes from flow, not from resistance. Water never resists stubbornly, yet it can penetrate stone. Letting nature take its course is not weakness, but another kind of powerful wisdom. I don't argue with the world. You collaborate with the world. Letting nature take its course is not giving up, but going with the flow and doing your best. We often misunderstand this phrase as being too passive, but those who truly understand Taoism are very hardworking. That hard work is not blind business, not reckless charging, but a cliff-rooted, resilient, and self-consistent effort. Go with the flow, not against the current. Follow your heart. not against your wishes. Accept your fate, not make unreasonable demands. Follow the Tao, not deviate from the path. You see, the Taoist following the flow is never about stopping, but about finding the right direction and using the right strength. Therefore, true, letting nature take its course is like this. What can be done? Don't delay. What should be let go of? Don't hold on to. What is unclear? Don't rush. What cannot be kept? Don't chase. What is impassable? Don't force your way through what you can't figure out. Let time tell. This is not passive, but incredibly efficient, because it is a force that stands in the same direction as nature. By just letting nature take its course, ultimately lead towards a more authentic self. In the end, the destination of all, following the flow, is towards your true nature of life. Taoism says, man follows the earth follows heaven, heaven follows the Tao, and the Tao follows nature. What is nature? It is non-action. It is freedom. It is authenticity. It is life in its original form. The more you go with the flow, the closer you get to the person you were meant to be. That feeling of relaxation and freedom that comes from returning to yourself is a sign that the Tao is beginning to flow within you. You will feel that you are not being pushed along, but being guided. When you truly understand going with the flow, you will find that every moment of life is full of possibilities. You no longer resist the storms of life, nor do you cling to controlling the uncontrollable. You learn to move with the current, and the flow of life follows. Your inner peace is clear as a lake. Going with the flow is your harmonious dance with the world, the awakening of inner freedom. You can experience this. Every breath, every action becomes a celebration of life. As the poet said, those who go with the flow will succeed. Those who act will achieve. May you, in the flow of life, not be bound by external forces, nor troubled by inner confusion. And may you feel the power of going with the flow in every step, finding your own rhythm and balance. Going with the flow is not giving up, but awakening. Remember, going with the flow is not laziness, but a deep resonance with the rhythm of life. If you learn this, you will possess a free and peaceful power. May you return to life with ease and brightness. If we part ways for now, may you have peace and kindness with you in the morning, noon, and evening. Click the subscribe button, and we'll see each other again.